Previously, we saw how to fake a data of the product to store them and display them in our application. Now what we need is to store this data in the database. And in this course, we are using MongoDB. And as we saw before, we don't need to install any special software for MongoDB. We just need to log into the cloud of MongoDB, and then we create there our database and connect our application to that database in the cloud. So first of all, how we can connect our application to the database on the cloud. So first, we need to install a library called Mongoose. Mongoose is responsible for all operation of MongoDB database in the application or in Node.js application. So let's install this library, which is called Mongoose. I will type here npm install Mongoose. And as every library, we need to create a constant. Let's call it Mongoose. And this Mongoose, we can say it's require Mongoose. We can assume that this thing here is like import. So we are importing every library and store it in a constant. Normally, we add the connection to the database before starting the server. So here I will say mongoose dot connect, and in this connect it's asking for URIs. URIs or connection string, I can get it from MongoDB Cloud. We saw previously how to connect to Cloud of MongoDB and create our application and clusters and our project. And we saw that we have multiple collections, or we can say databases, and those databases, we will have access to them through our application. So let's see how we can connect to those databases. In clusters, if I go back to clusters, I see here a button that it says connect. When I say connect, I can use multiple options from MongoDB. For example, what we need is connect your application. So we need to use a connection string to get it from here and paste it in our connection method from Mongoose. So by clicking on this option, we will get a connection string. Let's copy it and have it in our application. So I open quotations here and copy this connection string. But we can see it says these connection strings should contain a username and password and database name. But from where I can get these informations? Simply, in MongoDB Cloud, we can use a specific users to connect to these databases. We just need to go to Database Access and create a new user. And with this user, we can connect to database in the cloud. So let's click here, add a new database user, and let's give it a username eShop user. And the password, you have freedom to select any password. For example, I put from 1 to 7. He said the password is provided is very weak. So let's add some letters to it. And then it successfully added the user. Going back to our connection string, we need to replace this data here. So first, I will put here the username, eShop user, and the password which I had before, and the database name. Okay, we don't have database yet, so let's add one. We go back to the clusters, and then we can see here our collections. And in this list of collections I have previously, I can create a new database. So I'm going to give it a name, eShop database, and the same name for the collection. Back to the connection string, we can add now the database name. So now we have the full connection string. We talked before about environment variables. So let's store this string in the environment variables. So I copy it and then I create, for example, a variable, call it a connection string. And then I give it this value, which is the string which I got from the database cloud. And here I just say process dot environment variable dot connection string. So now how we can check that we are connected to the database or not? If we check this method connect, we will notice that it's returning a promise. The promise normally is getting executed and it's returning two methods. One is then when it's success and one with the error when it's fail. So here I will put then, and this then is a raw function, and I console in the log some message that database connection is ready. And when it fail, on catch, and it's also a raw method, we can say console log the error. Let's try to start our server. So now npm start, and we see that there are some notifications saying that deprecation warning. It's saying that current URL string parser is deprecated. So we need to use some specific variable. So we need to use a specific option as a true to make this deprecation disappear. But how we can use it? We see this connect method has another parameter called options. So with this options is an object where I can pass the options which I want. So let's copy this one and add it as option. We got also another deprecation warning, which is use unified topology. This is used also for searching for the servers. So let's add it also here and let's save. We are still getting error. Actually, the error we need to pass also the database name in the options. So I can say there is some reserved word, it's called DB name, and with this DB name I can pass the database name. We named our database in the cloud as eShop database. And after saving and trying to reconnect, we see again that the authentication is failed. In MongoDB Atlas, you need to give a network access. So this network access, you need to have a wide list of IPs which can access your database. So I have two IPs already. I can add another IP by going, for example, to Google and just type what is my IP. And in the first search result, I will get my IP directly. So I go here, copy this IP, and then I say add the new IP. So this IP is added. I can say my home office. And then I click confirm. So back to the application, we can see if we are able to connect or not. So just we can press save again. And we see here the server is running, but we didn't get any response yet from the database server. And we see that the database connection is ready. So in this way, we connect the eShop backend application to the database in the cloud. In the next part, we will see how to write data to this database using our APIs which we created before.